Hi, I'm Marks. That's my slide. Thank you. But a bit of a presentation behind it still is. Yeah, again, hi, my name is Mark. I'm representing Accenture today. I am innovation studio lead in Accenture Baltics, but that doesn't mean anything. Other than perhaps working a bit with the technologies that nobody really dares to test because they have to pay for it. That means that we have the playground to really invest our time, invest our money, figure out whether this is working or not working. Basically, a safe environment for businesses to validate their ideas, things, tools, and whatnot. And yeah, the agentic part is also one of the things that we started exploring within the innovation studio itself, and then afterwards it's scaled and across the whole organization. And today my topic is basically the same agentic AI, development of different things, but from the perspective of the enterprise. So, like the guys that come before me, so Accenture, this is in the Baltics, is a developer company. Means that we develop code. We don't have specifically in Baltics consultancy business, so we don't have trash talkers. We have just the guys that writing the things, and that means that a lot of the terms, a lot of the things we discussed already is also applicable for us. So we started from the same area, same direction, and we are exploring the same technologies for the same purpose. But the fact that all of our customers, and we have like 5 maybe Latvia customers, or maybe 10 now, still are all global enterprise level companies, means that they expect from us, of course, applying the same rules, the same technologies, but from perspective from the enterprise, meaning a lot more complex. So I'll try to supplement whatever was installed already with our experience, my experience, some facts, some things that the AI generated. Don't know whether this is true or not, but you can challenge me on this, and hopefully get some questions. Any questions? No? Not really. Okay. So, not sure if you have seen something similar like that, but this was actually covered in a bit, in certain extent, in the previous iterations today. But why we have created this kind of slide? And majority of the slides that you see today, these are like really sales slides, so meant for business and not really for developers. So though I'm surprised to also seeing that a lot of our dev people look at this and I understand that this is right. But the thing is, what this is explaining is kind of like the stages where we believe, not just enterprise, but just in general, people are going through when they explore agentic stuff. So initially, prompting. Everybody starts with the ChatGPT, then some other models, generating text, generating pictures, generating something else. Porno movies, for instance, but that's in the future. But regardless, so this was like the first entry point, and I believe for the most part, a lot of folks are still within this area. So meaning that they have agents, and nowadays everybody uses those for their work purposes, either legal or illegal. This is kind of like debatable, but regardless, ChatGPT everybody has, at least somewhere in the browser, in the phone, in the laptop or computer, run and they ask questions, so you are asking questions. If you are curious enough, you will have more complex tooling used for that, but regardless, majority of the folks will be going through basic prompts, and if you see down below, this has also some interesting boxes down there. Again, this is resonating with the fact that with the stuff that was already preserved, in the sense that regular development, when you have prompts, is divided in more or less a standard shape, that you have the big portion of coding. Actually, it means that somebody writes code, and this takes up a majority of the time we're spending on the product development. And what differs or what changes when we're moving to the right? And what actually this means, moving to the right, is that when we are going from just individual prompting, we're going to complex content engineering, meaning that there is already multiple people involved. For instance, business people creating their business specification, business thoughts, business ideas, then there's somebody who's translating them in something else, like technical requirements, and then again, people starting to use this as a source for their code generation, test generation, pipeline generation, whatever this is. And what it brings is that we see that, at least from our perspective, also from our understanding, that the actual distribution between the tasks of this process itself also changes. Means that when we have a lot more complex ecosystem of providing generated content or refined content, I see that there is also less need of coding itself. Because why? Code is being generated. Instead, we see that the business analysis part is actually growing, because you spend a lot more time on preparing what you would want to do, policies, instructions, guidelines, practices, or whatever this is, and then less actually coding and testing. And we go even further to the side when there is like proper agents building it, agent ecosystems, multi-agent chains and whatnot, then it becomes more visible even more. Then there is the orchestration part, important one, there's the business analysis part, and then there is literally just coding, testing, deploying, and everything in one go. So we don't really separate this anymore. Another interesting thing that everybody in business is really looking into the productivity gains. So maybe my question to you, what does these numbers represent actually? Any guesses on each of the stages?
Deliverables.
Time.
In time.
Okay. And second maybe question is what they are actually measured against?
Cost.
No, feature in production.
Kind of. The fun part is that this one to the right, so whom you're checking the productivity? Yourself. So in 3 months' time, for instance. Now I use prompts, use a model. In 2-3 months, I will use the same prompts. I will have better model, and I'll have better results, faster, quicker, whatnot. This one is actually a productivity gain, kind of one team against another. When there is a full-blown SDLC process in place, everybody is like using advanced methodology, tooling and whatnot, against the other team which is perhaps not doing, or just doing regular prompting. And the third one is actually productivity gain on corporate level, an enterprise that actually reached this stage versus all the others that didn't. Meaning that they achieve quite a lot of things a lot faster compared to everybody else in the market. Kind of. Of course, all of those numbers are speculative still. There is very little shared information everywhere to back this up, but these are the assumptions. A bit further slicing, perhaps, also again from our perspective, from the enterprise level, what kind of roles does it mean? And I mean, what kind of changes does it bring? And who is doing that? So standard, I would say, delivery or standard team composition would be something like a project manager, the lead of the team, business analyst, developer, or DevOps engineer, for instance, tester, and yeah, that's it. So you have your Scrum team in place, and you can deliver products. When you're actually going into context part, there is a lot more that's already expected to be delivered by the project lead, project manager, program manager. A lot more it's expected from the business analyst, and actually, as we've seen already, less and less from the developers, QAs, and testers. A lot of stuff are really being replaced and changed. And even further, yeah, you barely see any developer here in the list. Again, kind of like a speculative direction, at least based on the technology we have currently. So likely in like 3-5 years, this will change. But regardless, at least right now, this is kind of a trend where we see that it doesn't mean that all the technical people will die out. It means that most likely those developers will transition into these roles, and this role. So doing multiple things. So full stack becomes or receives a new meaning. So it's not just like developing front and back and cloud infrastructure or whatnot. Everything that's also, let's say, adding it, business part, and also afterwards selling it perhaps. Is it a good future? I don't know, but certainly this will be a very complex one. Let's do a bit of a mind exercise. So hopefully you know what car it is, right?
Ford GT.
Yeah, and maybe I get a bit more reasoning and deductive thinking. So what this timeline does represent?
Sorry, what's the question?
What timeline this particular picture represents? So what it shows you?
When the car was made?
Yes, that's actually a good decision. So you see, the first iteration was produced in 1964. So the famous movie about. The second generation was produced in 2005, and the last one in 2017. Where is the technological gap bigger between iterations? Suggestions?
First, third.
Right.
Second to third.
Correct. So between these two cars, this is like 40 years. and between these two 12. And the difference between technology is a lot, or the gap is like a lot more prominent here as it is actually there. So within 40 years, the car industry didn't change much in terms of technology, and in the last 10 to 20 years, a lot more. So what does it show?
Everything speeds up. Progress
Really?
speeds up.
Really, really fast, yeah. So all the development, not just coding, everything, because again, everything is now being digital. Banks are digital institutions, health sector as well is becoming digital, so you can develop products faster. But what challenge does it bring? And I do hope that the next slide actually shows something. Yeah, more or less. So those are actual samples of enterprise level companies doing their internal transformation, moving from something to something new. And how much time did it take for them? So for instance, Netflix. So from kind of like selling DVDs to platform, it took them full like 10 plus years actually to achieve that one and to get it there, so transform their business. Microsoft, again, developing their cloud platform, something like 5-7 years. And Amazon as well. So quite lengthy exercise, so that's 10 plus years. So what does it mean? That technology is advancing like rapidly or very quickly, but the speed that the enterprises can adapt is a lot slower. So again, what does it mean? So we have like the AI models being developed not on year basis but months or day basis, and they like rapidly develop. But the enterprise to change accordingly for this will take years and years. What does it mean again? That developers will still have work for long time, and all the standard jobs we have, like developers, business analysis, like DBAs, administrators, architects, and so on, still will be needed on the market for longer years, because all of this transformation for them really takes time. Anybody want to charge me? No? Okay. Another nice slide. So what does this one shows us? This particular, kind of like our evaluation of the market and the way and the amount of money that's being pumped into the business. So for developing different AI technologies. So in our time frame, this is something like 44 billion, and this will go like even further. Any ideas who is paying for that?
Big tech?
Venture capital.
Actual big tech, and they're paying with their own money.
Yeah.
The thing is, why this is not creating a bubble, like financial bubble, or like there was like the huge bubble that we had 2008, because they are spending their own money. Really, this is their investment. They are putting into the technology, and so this doesn't have any complication. And why they are doing that, meaning that whoever gets first there will stay first. It means they will get the biggest part of the market. Fortunately for us, no financial institution really are participating in this madness there. So of course they are investing a lot as well, but for the most part, these spendings are really coming from the big tech companies. And if this will change, then the next financial crisis will hit us eventually, because the bubble will explode. So at some point the finances will kind of like stop, means that the rapid development research will stop, but till then we have a nice an interesting period of time where a lot of things will change. And the enterprise will try to accommodate this, and kind of like change it all. Why it doesn't work? Meaning, agentic AI is around for longer years. GitHub Copilot or Cloud or anything else, so the big providers, they have their products for like longer years already on the market. But yeah, it's this nice representation states. People think that you have those tools and then you are really enterprise ready and can build product. But in reality, you have all of this stuff that you also need to build in order for this to actually work. So the tooling itself is one smaller piece. The whole organization needs to sustain this thing. So from C-level down to the really people on the ground building the products. And just because of that, to make all these changes and everything, it will not happen fast. So, from our perspective, everybody is kind of like trying to be on the curve and invest money and do something. But in reality, maybe if I go back to this slide, this amount of money is just coming from the big players. All the mid to lower size companies are really not investing that much into this. They try to, let's say, acquire a license for GitHub Copilot or Cloud, they give to the developers and hope that everything will kind of like auto-resolve. Which it doesn't, because again, you have to build everything there. And this is another reason why most likely, that quickly, companies will not change the way how they work, at least the bigger ones. Small ones, of course, adopt quicker, but they have other challenges. Questions?
With the picture on the right, you don't need human beings at all, right?
That's actually a good question. So, certainly you need.
Agents will speak to themselves.
Agents will speak to themselves for sure. There will be the need for a lot less people, but it doesn't mean that they are not required at all. Most likely we'll have other jobs and other stuff due. So the ecosystem itself is growing. Yeah, I don't know how much of people actually from a big enterprise will have to be sacrificed and replaced, but there will be some numbers.
Just a side comment on this last thing. There was just a Klarna, I guess, who has just took a decision to fire a majority of their customer service staff, just to later to find out that just their customer service quality has dropped so low than just they cannot just afford anymore to get this so low quality of the service just in order to avoid losing the clients.
Yeah. So, yeah. My question.
Yeah, just maybe a replica. You were saying that we need to build, enterprise need to build those tools. They actually need to change processes as well.
Yeah. So
this is a much harder step to do.
Yeah, that's the thing. So the tool itself doesn't change much. They have to change internal processes, people, thinking, and whatnot. And regards this firing the support desk team, one of our clients in the UK, they were kind of like the first adopters. There a couple of years ago, they started the first initiative of building AI-driven customer support, voice and text. This worked. Then a couple of years back, they introduced more sophisticated way of a bot that actually has an LLM underneath it. And when it was on production, it is still in production, so nobody got fired. At least from the management. One of the customers called the bot and complained about his subscription. But he was like a loyal person. He wanted really to have advice how to solve his problem. And the agent actually didn't come up with anything better than suggesting to go to the competitor because they had a better product. He was really working with the real data, so it wasn't made up. So it was a cautious decision or correct interpretation of data, but it wasn't loyal to the company. So again, no developers were fired, but this was like a nice lessons learned from it. Means that there is a lot of still things to consider, and this is not something you can easily put in the requirements. Although you can build bots, you can build, have intelligent bots, you can use agentic to build bots, and so on, build pipelines, but stuff that you are not really, you cannot find in an open model that would explain or solve this kind of problems. You have to really go through them. And this is again small thing. Yeah, I wanted to also list a couple of the challenges of the problems that really the enterprise are facing when they are working and trying to scale up. And again, for us, this is good because we have work at each of the stages there. But also means that they have to go painful way to get something. So, hallucination, this is most obvious part, but more problematic ones are that all the tools that we discussed so far are really individually oriented, meaning that they're mostly built for people, not for enterprises, and that all of the wins, ways how they work, and so on, natively is individual based or small team based. It's not really supporting huge ecosystems, and everything that they're building and we are building is really coming from small, and then we try to sample custom and scale it up to kind of cover it up. But in essence, again, another thing is important. industry context, so the model doesn't have that knowledge. So they are trained mostly on available data. And of course, some of them started now recently to appear being trained on very specific selected data. They are getting better, but still, there is a long way for them to be really industry specific and industry like knowledgeable. Another like simple at least thing to consider: Scrum and Kanban know the ceremonies. When you have a normal sprint, 1 week, 2 week, that they can actually run and operate and understand. If you develop within a day how you run your ceremonies, so what do? How quickly you can exchange information. So that's a challenge actually. And of course, all of the business processes to supplement that. You can generate code quickly, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and whatnot. That's done. But to get everybody to contribute with the data, that's a very problematic process. And as I also mentioned in one of my comments there, even for our company, we have very senior people working for us. And they understand that AI is helping. We use legally approved models for suggestions, for some documentation, for something, but they are not really convinced that they can build complex enough solutions, although this is not true. This is just really thinking or way of thinking. And it takes us a lot of effort of training, convincing, pushing, and somewhere like other way influencing people to really go and test. And if it is even for us complicated to convince folks, then for regular companies it's even more harder. So they have a longer learning curve to really work this one out. So another challenge there. Really changing the pattern, firing all the C-level people, usually is the best case. Then you hire new people and hope that this will work. Okay. And yeah, partially I mentioned this already. What the enterprises and what the LMs are actually equipped with. Kind of the data that they have to process. Public data versus the one which is internal hosted. And a lot of businesses still, although know that they have to, don't trust models. Like, simple case. You don't host your LLMs on your servers, in your local data center, so you still use providers like Microsoft, Google, or Info, and they're located somewhere. Of course, you have signed contracts, they commit that the data is not being shared and whatnot, but who knows? There are, of course, still concerns that some of the stuff might not be really secure, isolated, and so on. So this is, usually this is in the people's hands, not that this technology is not supporting that. So just opening up the gates and start to process the data. I had one case 2 years ago, one company in the States working with the in the financial sector for stock exchange market. So one of the biggest there. They had the money, they had the data, and somebody in the C-level people with the guts to really do this. And they invested themselves $30 to $40 million, hired the best people they had in Accenture across the globe. They managed to get something like 20 AI architects, not more, that were capable with this budget to build first of all their own data set and create their own model. So the purpose specifically trained and tuned on the client's data, which was supreme and prepared. And they have those models running for them, meaning that in the States, the stock exchange market, they know and can predict like spot on. Are they sharing this knowledge? Of course not, they're using for their advantage. They're multiplying their own benefits. But they said they had to invest a lot of money, a lot of time, really to build those custom and specific models. And again, they had the data. So nobody else can replicate it, their kind of a journey. So this is still a very limiting factor. You can build as much with the data you have, but obviously you're not sharing your business with anybody else. So it is like slowing down the thing. Perhaps for good. Yeah, I believe this is the last slide before I go actually with some other samples. So how we sell to the clients, the easy journey to onboard, let's say, agentic SDLC into their landscape and change and transform the system. So just easy 5 steps and you're done. Pay Accenture and we help you. $1 billion or 2 maybe. But in essence, the way all of the customers, at least I've seen so far, are going, they identify something they want to kind of like tried out a process or a project they have already in schedule. They kind of like identify who will be building that, the goals they want to measure, and really pilot it with whatever greatest they can actually use. Either as DLC frameworks or ecosystems or whatnot, whatever serves the purpose, and builds the prototype, proves the concept that it works, and then slowly start to scale. Around this process they selected, then perhaps more units, business entities and so on. Still very, very slow process. But they're really going all the way. There's nobody like really going full-blown nuts mode and just like changing everything overnight. And that's actually the only way how to achieve that. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yep.
It was like with the B or with the M that invested money in the previous slide you mentioned that Forex company that invested 30 or 40 millions or billions?
Millions. Just for millions, yes. Just for running the model, not for anything else. Just for running the
no, that's fine.
The research to train it.
Yeah, AI engineer's salary is around 1 million.
Now everything else is what this is purely for running the servers to train the models. That's it. And yeah.
Oh my god.
Yes. No, that's the interpretation of the previous slide in more or less reality. So all the different stages and whatnot. So vibe coding, yeah, easy peasy across all the different stages. But if you go actually to full-blown enterprise level, very complicated things, you have to have in place everything, and everybody really understanding and living the way. So, however, one sample I wanted to mention, there is still in the desk in the slides, for instance, Jira. How much time do you think would be necessary to build your own Jira?
Half a year, month.
Maybe
3 weeks.
30 minutes. So, of course, the caveat is that you're not building the full implementation. You're building the functionality you need for a project. Really 30 minutes and you're done. You have a full working Jira, you can run, deploy, host, and everything, and everybody will be using. Of course, specifically limiting to the needs of your engagement, team, and whatnot, but you can easily scale it. The same actually with ServiceNow. So the most of the functionality in ServiceNow you can easily generate. We tested it on. We had one customer coming in, and just for curiosity purposes, of course it wasn't perfect, but it was really working, and the experience was identical as you get there. So.
But it's not Jira, it's just a task tracker.
Fine. Why do you want to?
It's not a business valuable product.
It is. Why do you want to spend the money for the licenses if you can get the functionality on the level of the team it needs it? So they generate the tool for themselves and use only the part they need.
But it's a lot of layers, like authorization, cloud,
Fine,
storage,
yes.
like that. It's a
yes.
lot.
This is
Again,
easy.
it's a
Easy. Easy.
half hours.
Who cares?
You guys.
No, you see, of course it is complicated. It's not that easy. But the thing is, if you have the skills, for instance, authorization skill, deployment skill, or like I don't know, Java skill, JavaScript skill, which is already including the standards you would expect to be used for authorization audit or anything, any other protocol. It is already inside of the agent. You just say, okay, this tool has to use that. Okay, button layout you might also use from a template, and it will generate. So there's no real problem with this. You don't have to specify exactly what is the encryption protocol will be using there. It could be in your knowledge base you have inside of your organization. And that's something that we are lucky to have because we have a lot of people. So we have really kind of like nice sample. We obviously operate clouds. So AWS Cloud, Azure Cloud for internal purposes, it's not client facing. And it is a pain in the ass actually to get it running in the sense that we have a team, global one, which is always scanning for any vulnerabilities in the system itself. So we have, for whatever reason, created a public bucket. They will like call you in 30 seconds and you will get an escalation from your boss. And they have a very nice tracker for all possible, for instance, cloud-specific configurations that are breaking or violating anything. This is like a huge database with all possible configurations you can have in the cloud, and again, what is considered safe and what's not. We just took this awesome thing, once we understood the value of it, and created a skill. Really having everything for every product that AWS, Azure, Google actually has, and the best practice how you should build it for any of the components, and actually connected it to Terraform. Meaning that when we are running agent, I'm saying create me, and you see to instantly connecting to the bucket, it will pull out from this knowledge base, all the policies should be applied there. All the ports will be closed, unnecessary ones, encryption in place, VPC configuration, and whatnot. And you don't have to specify it, because this is already in the instructions. You just have to say what you want, what you need. So, in that sense, when you have that level of context prepared before, it becomes easier. Of course, it's not bulletproof. The agents still hallucinate, they forget. The sessions and the memory inside of them is limited. So if you trust it fully, then yeah, you're a nice guy, but will you stay for longer in the organization? Most likely yes, but you'll have challenges. So, and I can perhaps share something at a later stage if there is actual time for that. Because I had also a couple samples of kind of like good examples where enterprises started to implement this journey. They're not yet there, because again, this was just like we're in the middle of it. Yeah, obviously you do know the company, right? And I'm not claiming this is our customer, for no way. But sorry. Do you know how much time it takes for BMW, for Volkswagen, from signing, we want to build a new platform, till the first test car is actually driving? How much years does it take? Year? 3? 2?
Hour.
6 years. From the moment the actual management signs we want to build the platform, till the first car is actually starting to drive. 6 years. Do you know how much actually the Chinese spend on this?
Hour.
They spend 2 years. They spend 2 years. Do you know the reason why?
Yeah.
This is the solution they use, but why?
They still want to
The thing is, Volkswagen spent half of this 6 years actually reading their books, taking from the shelves their documentation for each of the components of the car, accumulating all the knowledge they want to put on the platform, manually processing them, and only after 3 years they start to build it. They really spend 2 years of refining what they know already. Chinese automated quite a lot of the things, trusted AI, and they just skip entirely this whole thing. That's the reason why they can develop new platforms and new cars like 3 times faster than Volkswagen does. So BMW was somewhere in between this timeline. And they knew that they can actually improve that, which means that that's the reason why they started actually the AI transformation, not just implementing or using fancy AI tools of development. So this really started to change how the company operates, all the processes, all the involved elements like supply chain, product development, designs and whatnot, to user management and everything, richly. So they also started to treat their vendors like us very harsh, because they stated that we understand how AI works, cut your contract fees by 30%, or you don't work with us. It's working. So, because they understand, they implemented themselves the processes that they can actually, via introducing the tools, processes, whatnot, reduce the cost they spend on something. Well, they just said, okay, 30% is fine. And they push everybody else working with them to apply with the same rules, meaning that there is by default process improvement by 30% compared to the regular standards that they get. And of course, they're not fully complete in the process, they're still going there, but they have achieved significant already results. And as you see also, there are a lot of BMW products driving around, different ones, and so on. Yep. The second I wanted to mention, yeah, do you know what Deutsche Telekom is? Any ideas how big they are? They actually acquired in the States a small, small cell phone company and wanted to make short business and then sell it. And by accident it became the second largest in the States. So there was a good manager and somehow they had a good strategy and it really grew huge. And means that in Europe, of course, there are a lot of other companies like Swisscom, Tele and whatnot that are actually also big. but Deutsche Telekom compared has significant more resources, and that means that they also started their own transformation processes from, again, services they do and operations and whatnot, everything that comes inside of it. And because of the war, because of the situation like States versus Europe, the topic with the sovereign AI and sovereign cloud as well is one of the things that they're driving. Meaning that they are one of the several companies in Europe that are forming collaboration or business whatnot to actually isolate or create similar clarity products, AI, everything, as for the big US-based companies and the China-based companies. So again, this transformation is still ongoing, but they're really doing well. Nice samples. No details to share, but just you know. This is also a nice sample. We built for them something I can mention. But yeah, as also previously stated in some other cases regards the transformation from one type of business to a different ones, this is also a good sample. So what kind of different products and everything they are now striving to become. And actually, as it's also stated there, media company to advanced entertainment kind of like provider, which includes everything. So complicated things, they most likely will get it done in, I don't know, 5-7 years, but this also will include them quite a lot of interesting things. So we should expect from them also new interesting products. I really believe I did have only one last slide. So this is something we actually created for our internal purposes, also for some training. The Kanban, that only purpose or like reason of existing is to show people what kind of knowledge they should actually put inside their brains, and also the context for a solution or application or something they want to build. And if you kind of like have an answer for a lot of these things, then the generated result will be quoted and good. If you have obviously gaps, then it will start to hallucinate. But this really covers all the different things, like from the business objective, how AI should work, what the different tasks, memory layout, all the different contexts you can actually connect the tools and human in the loop. So if you're able to answer more of these questions, then you can expect at least that the result will be good or even excellent. But it of course has a lot of prerequisites. Yeah, and that's it actually from my side.